On July 1st, 2025, a telescope in the mountains of Chile caught something that didn't belong. It wasn't orbiting the sun. It wasn't going around anything. It was just passing through, on a straight line, moving too fast, from a direction nothing in our solar system comes from. In the 18 months since, the most powerful telescopes on Earth, on Mars, and in deep space have all turned to look at the same object. A respected scientist said it might be a spacecraft, and the real answer turned out to be stranger than that. Here's the thing you need to know first. Almost everything in our solar system orbits the sun. Planets, asteroids, comets, bound, circling, staying. In all of recorded astronomy, we've only ever caught two objects doing something else, passing straight through from interstellar space and leaving forever. One in 17, one in 19. This is the third. It was found by a system called ATLAS, a network of telescopes built to catch asteroids that might hit Earth. On July 1st, it flagged an object that didn't fit any known orbit. Astronomers ran the numbers overnight. The trajectory wasn't a loop. It was a line, coming from outside, going back out. When they clocked its speed, it was already moving at about 137,000 miles an hour inside the orbit of Jupiter. That speed wasn't caused by our sun's gravity pulling it in. It arrived already moving that fast. Whatever it is, it's been traveling for a very long time. They named it 3I Atlas. The 3I means the third interstellar object ever confirmed. And unlike the first two, this one was about to get a lot more attention. This thing is moving so curved, it's mathematically impossible for the sun to ever pull it back. It makes one pass through our solar system and leaves permanently. Whatever we learn about it, we learn now. There's no second visit. Even something as basic as its size turned into an open question. In August 2025, the Hubble Space Telescope tried to measure it directly and came back with a range, not a number, somewhere between 10 feet and 3.5 miles wide. A haze of dust and gas around the object, its coma, was hiding the solid core underneath. 2 months later, on October 3rd, it passed within about 30 million kilometers of Mars. Close enough that spacecraft already orbiting Mars turned their cameras toward it. For a moment, we had eyes on this thing from two different planets at once, and that's when it started acting strange. Comets are supposed to behave in predictable ways as they heat up and shed gas. This one didn't. Its acceleration didn't match the models. Something about it was off. That caught the attention of Avi Loeb, a Harvard astrophysicist, not a fringe internet theorist. He's the same scientist who, back in 2017, raised the same question about the first interstellar object ever found. He looked at the data on this one and said, publicly, this might not be a comet at all. His case rested on a handful of anomalies, a jet of gas pointing toward the sun instead of away from it, the opposite of what a normal comet does. A pulsing brightness pattern some called a heartbeat, and an orbital path lined up unusually close to the same plane the planets orbit in, something random interstellar visitors have roughly a 1 in 500 chance of doing by accident. He didn't say it was definitely artificial. He said the odds were worth taking seriously. That was enough. Within days, it was a global story, and for the first time since 2017, mainstream astronomy was seriously entertaining the question, could this be technology? So scientists did the only responsible thing: they checked. On December 19th, 2025, as the object made its closest approach to Earth, still a safe 2 milliseconds, the breakthrough listen pointed some of the most sensitive radio telescopes on the planet directly at it. They weren't looking for a message. They were looking for a very specific kind of radio signal. Narrow, structured, the kind natural objects don't produce, but transmitters do. If something built this thing, this was the moment to find out. For a few days in December 2025, some of the most advanced instruments on Earth were listening to a rock in space, as if it might answer back. It didn't. Researchers flagged 9 unusual signals for a closer look. Every single one turned out to be ordinary human radio interference. Cell towers, satellites, static, no tensimal stand, 3I, measurable standards, not artificial. And that's usually where a story like this ends. Mystery deflates. Everyone moves on. But that's not where this one ends. Because while the alien question was playing out in headlines, a different team was doing something much quieter, pulling this object apart, atom by atom. On March 16, 26, the object passed near Jupiter, and NASA's Juno spacecraft, already out there, got a chance to observe it too. Across 9 months, 3 planets' worth of instruments had now looked at the same 18-mile-per-second travel. Then, on June 2, 2026, a study published in the journal Nature laid out what the James Webb Space Telescope had found in the object's chemistry, and it didn't match anything else we've ever measured in our solar system. Specifically, the ratio of deuterium to hydrogen in its ice was roughly .8. And this fingerprint doesn't match anything born in our neighborhood. Those specific ratios only form one way, in an extremely cold environment, in a part of the galaxy with very few heavy elements, the kind of conditions that existed early in the Milky Way's history, before generations of dying stars had seeded the galaxy with the heavier atoms that make solar systems like ours possible. Which means this object is old, not predates recorded history old. The researchers estimate up to 12 billion years. Our Sun and solar system are 4.6 billion years old. This comet could be old enough that it formed when the universe itself was less than half its current age, before the Sun existed, before Earth existed, quite possibly before the Milky Way even looked like the spiral galaxy we know today. So it's not a spacecraft. It's something that, in its own way, is harder to believe. A frozen fragment from the early childhood of the galaxy, drifting alone through the dark for longer than our entire solar system has existed, and for a handful of months, it happened to drift close enough for us to notice. It has already made its closest passes. It's now heading back out permanently. It will never return. No one alive today, and no one who comes after us, will ever get another chance to look at it. The impulse that made a respected scientist ask, could this be alien? The same impulse that made a research team point a radio telescope at a rock, just in case. That's the same impulse that ended up finding something real. We keep looking up because every so often, what's actually out there turns out to be bigger than what we imagine. And here's the part that should keep you looking up too. Astronomers expect new sky surveys coming online in the next few years to catch several more of these interstellar visitors, maybe dozens. Most will probably turn out to be ordinary. One of them might not. If you want to know the moment the next one is spotted, this is where that story gets told first. 3i Atlas is already gone, but for 11 months it was the oldest thing anyone has ever pointed a telescope at, and we were watching.